Let's just imagine for a second that we are in the 2000s right now, and maybe you are playing a virtual world. But why? Because everyone plays virtual worlds. We are in the 2000s, you know, everyone knows about them. Maybe you are playing, I don't know, Club Penguin, or maybe you are playing Animal Jam, or maybe Pandanda. Did you know about Pandanda? Pandanda. I don't know how is it pronounced in English because I'm not a native English speaker. Or maybe Adventure Quest Worlds. Did you play Adventure Quest Worlds? I bet you didn't. Let's just imagine that you are starting playing one of them. What's your name going to be? Maybe something very edgy or very cringe, like we are calling it nowadays. Maybe you name yourself the strong guy or something like that, the strongest 24. Maybe you call yourself, I don't know, the delusional guy. Or maybe you call yourself No Name Alex. Oh my god, Alex, you're so full of creativity, man. Did your mom tell you that? But, you know, it doesn't really matter. For example, I called myself Schmecker Boy because Schmecker in my language means something that's cool, and boy from obvious reasons, but I didn't even know how to spell boy, man. I didn't even spell it like B-O-Y. I spelled it like B-O-I. Man, what the fuck was wrong with me? What the fuck? But then, what comes next? Indeed, we are just playing the game without giving an F about how we are called. You know? And that's just the magic of these games. That's just the magic of our childhood. But man, just let me tell you a story, okay? Once upon a time, I decided to start playing Club Penguin, okay? So I entered the website Club Penguin and then I made my account. I used a name like, I don't know, the strong guy 24 or something like that. And then I entered my mom's email address, you know, because I had no email address, so I entered my mom's one. She was at work, but I memorized it successfully because I was young. I was memorizing a lot of things a lot faster than now. I entered my mom's email address. Club Penguin told me something, but I don't know English because I'm just a child, so who the fuck cares? Anyway, and then I pressed like next, okay, let me just play, man. And then I wanted to play the game. I entered my credentials, you know, I entered my name, my password. But it didn't let me play, man. It didn't let me play. And I don't know the reason. Why the fuck don't you let me play it? No, it was not 2017. The game was open, okay? The game was not closed. But what's the reason? What wouldn't they let me play the game, you know? Am I not cool enough or something like that? I really don't know. But what comes to my mind? The best idea ever. Make another Club Penguin account, man. This one is not cool enough. Of course. It's so obvious. I made another account. I entered another name. I don't know if it was Schmecker Boy or something like that. And then I entered some random password. And then I entered my mom's email address, you know, that I have memorized a lot of times. The game told me something that was not important at all, but I just pressed on next, and okay, and so on and so forth, you know. It didn't let me play. Again, man, it didn't let me play. What the fuck am I doing wrong? And then I made another account. I called myself Laserotron because, of course, that's a cool name to have. Who the fuck doesn't call himself Laserotron nowadays? And then I entered my mom's email address, but it didn't work this time neither. So I was pretty sad at that time, and I just gave up. I just gave up making an account. But then, after an hour and a half, my phone was ringing. That Nokia with buttons, you know, that brick was ringing basically. And I looked up, it's my mom, okay. Hello, what's up? I just opened up my Yahoo and I saw that a lot of Club Penguin accounts have been made with my email address. Like one of them is called The Strong Guy 24, one of them is called Schmecker Boy, and one of them is called Laserotron. Do they sound familiar to you or something? Yeah, just confirm them, you know. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you. Okay, have a nice day. Bye. That's cringe, you know. Like, cringe was not even a thing back then, but that's how it's like to be cringe. But in the last couple of days, I have been thinking seriously about how I used to name myself back then. In this virtual world, so basically in these social media networks that we had back then in the 2000s, you know, because, okay, there were like YouTube and Facebook, they were created, but we didn't care that much about them like we care now about them, you know. We actually cared more about Club Penguin and Pop Tropica and Animal Jam, Pandanda, I don't know how it's spelled again, but those were basically our social media networks. Like, okay, I totally understand that our faces were not directly associated with our accounts, but we used to just make our characters seem like us in real life, you know. Like, that was the bare minimum that we did. for our characters to be like us, to represent us, you know? But the name didn't even matter. And that tells me something, man. When we were kids, we were not perfectionists at all, you know, like at all. The game was what mattered the most. The joy that we gained from playing the game was what mattered the most, you know? And I want to point out another thing. When I saw that my first account didn't work, I made another account, you know? I tried again to play the game, you know? That didn't work neither, so I tried to make another account and another account and another account, you know? So what actually mattered the most for me was just to play the game and to win those games and to receive those money from playing the game, obviously, and to use those money to buy pets like those puffles, you know, if you remember the puffles, and to buy some clothes and to have the best looking igloo in the game, you know? So that was what mattered the most for myself, the joy from playing the game, you know? Not what I'm actually called, like, what's my name, you know? That's a secondary thing that's lost in the background. I can call myself whatever I want to call myself, but what is actually important is the game itself. But nowadays, what's happening nowadays? Well, let me tell you what's happening nowadays. I'm a fourth year student in my last year of college. So basically, in 1 year, I will have my diploma in which there will be written that I'm an engineer. So basically, I'm gonna be an engineer in 1 year from now, you know? But I wanna be a YouTuber because I'm a 22-year-old that doesn't know what the fuck is going on with his life, you know? Like a basic Zoomer nowadays. So what am I going to do? Am I going to be an engineer? Am I going to be a YouTuber? Am I going to be an NGTuber? I don't know. I can't tell you right now because I have zero success. I have zero subscribers. And I want to make YouTube videos, you know, I want to start YouTube. So what am I going to do with my life? What I'm going to do? Yabba dabba doo, Scooby Dooby Doo, I don't know. What the fuck am I going? I want to be a YouTuber, of course I want to be a YouTuber. I want to make a lot of videos, a lot of quality videos. I want to build my own audience, and that audience is going to have a name, you know, a very original name. But yeah, that's the problem right now. But before this problem, there was another problem, man. And that problem for the last couple of months was that I don't know how am I going to be called. How am I going to name my YouTube account? Am I going to name itself like I'm called in real life, like Tudor Călin Oprea? Is that name going to be the official one that I'm going to choose for my channel? Am I going to make, I don't know, a very creative name that's going to be concatenated from Tudor and Călin, or from Tudor and Oprea, or from Călin and Oprea, or I don't know. Like, I always admired how Eminem, for example, came out with his stage name, you know? That's a very clever way of making a stage name. But how am I going to name myself, you know? So I wanted to call this channel Tudor Călin Oprea, like I am called in real life, you know? Even though nobody calls me Călin, everyone calls me Tudor, but I don't care that much. I would like to be called Călin as much as I'm called Tudor. I really don't care. You can call me Oprea if you want, but yeah. I like the symmetry because these three names have just 5 letters. Like, I don't know, it just happens. So I eventually managed to choose a name for this channel. But I would like to make another one. Because, you know, being an engineer, you know, I studied a lot of programming, a lot of web development. That has something to do with engineering more or less, but I loved web development and I would like to start learning game development as well. So I would also like to make a YouTube channel for programming, you know, in which I just teach you guys how to program, and I just make a lot of applications in web development, and there's a possibility in the future that I am going to need a team to make a video game, but we'll see about that. But I really don't know how am I going to name that channel. So you see the difference? When I was young and I used to play Club Penguin, for example, and other virtual worlds, I used to call myself however I wanted to call myself. That's actually the difference between me from now and me from 2000s, you know, from the 2000s when I used to play Club Penguin and other virtual worlds. Man, I didn't care about how am I going to name myself. The game was what actually mattered. Nowadays, if you want to make a brand, I don't know, you should actually think about a name, or shouldn't you do that, you know, like, I don't know, because a rebranding in the future is not that cool. It may destroy your entire brand, I think, like, Or maybe I'm just too scared about the YouTube algorithm, you know? Maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe you can call yourself however you want nowadays, and in the future eventually change your name to something else that represents you better in the future, you know? But maybe that applies just to these kind of channels that are based on discussions, based on different topics. Like I can talk here about virtual worlds, or I can talk about chocolate and something else, you know? Like, I don't know. If we are talking about a niched channel, a more niched channel based on web development and game development also, I don't know what to say. Sometimes the YouTube algorithm is very vague. Like, you don't know what to expect from it. So in the conclusion, maybe it's our fault for being that perfectionists, you know, like I am right now. What my name is going to be on the YouTube channel? Is that name going to align with my brand? You know, maybe you don't have to be that perfectionist. But at the same time, man, these social media networks are so crazy nowadays. Like, you have to think of this YouTube algorithm a lot of times even before posting a video, you know, on YouTube. Like, you didn't have to do this in 2016, 2017. You know, like, you have to learn a lot of algorithms from YouTube, from Instagram, from not TikTok. Back then in 2016, the YouTube algorithm was not even a thing. Nobody talked about the YouTube algorithm. There was no guru that was talking to you about the YouTube algorithm, you know? Like, there was no one talking about that because it didn't even matter. You had just to post your video on YouTube, and that went viral eventually. But if you feel like you enjoyed this video and you are not disturbed by the fact that I'm not a native English speaker, feel free to subscribe to my channel, feel free to share my channel with your friends if you want to, and feel free to comment down below your own opinions about this perfectionism. And what virtual world did you play the most when you were a kid? Feel free to leave a like, because that's actually going to help me out with this algorithm that doesn't even actually know that I exist, you know? Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well, because the links are going to be down below in the description. And I'm going to announce you guys when I start my programming related YouTube channel. But at the same time, we'll see each other on this channel too in the next video. So have a nice day, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.